After October 7th, I spoke about the fact that there's a Zohar that says that before Mashiach comes, there'll be a number of towers that will fall down. I spoke about the towers falling down for the Jewish people was those institutions that we relied on. We relied on higher learning, institutions of higher learning, and they've proven to be the bastion of anti-Israel and therefore anti-Jewish spaces. Relied on the legal profession, the courts, again, the ICC, the ICJ, have proven to be a major center for anti-Zionism. We've relied on medical profession, and we've seen the same thing there. We rely on so many different areas, and they've all come crashing down. In a place like America, the Jewish people are relied on the Democratic Party, and they've proven to be extremely anti-Israel and getting worse and worse than that. And in a way it was easy for me to say, because the truth is, I never relied on any of those institutions, but I did rely on the right. And that's also come down now. The woke right that is called, the Tucker Carlsons, etc., that have already been proven a while to be anti-Israel. And now, all of a sudden, the one man who seemed to be totally on Israel's side is hedging and has gone into deals that are not necessarily for the best interest of the Jewish people and of Israel. So what are we to make of it? And I think the idea is here too, that it's coming down, that we can't rely on him as well. So what does that say? There's a letter of the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. And the previous Rebbe makes a distinction between what's called tikva and bitachon. Tikva means hope, and bitachon means trust. He says hope is when you hope that you have something in your life that might be nebulous, but you put your hope in that. So for example, someone who's drowning, he's clutching at straws, as we call it. The hope is in the straw that will keep him up in the sea. And there's a source to that in the Torah, in the Tanakh. A few weeks ago we read the prophecy where two spies, we read in the book of Joshua, two spies who came to Rachav's home. They came to spy out Jericho. They stayed in the place of the Rachav, who was a woman of the night. Anyway, and the discussion they had eventually was that she was going to put a red scarlet outside of her home, a thread of red scarlet out of her home, and the armies of the Jewish people, when they come on Jericho, will see it and know that this house has to be protected. And it was called Tikvas Chut Hashani, the hope of the red scarlet. Says the previous Rebbe that even though a red scarlet can be snapped, it can be blown away by the wind. Nevertheless, they put their hope in that red scarlet that they're not going to be touched. So their hope was that it's not going to be blown away, and it's not going to snap, and the Jewish people will remember and see it and save them. So says the previous Rebbe, Bitachon gomer b'Hashem, complete trust in Hashem, is when there's nothing to rely on, only Him. That's the highest level. That's called total trust in Hashem. No, there's nothing out there that we put our trust in, only in God. And explain the psychological perspective of it. This is this. We're constantly looking at the news and seeing what's going on, and one of the main reasons that we do so is not because we can make a difference. We're looking at where we could put our hope. Oh, you know what? 14 out of 18 South American countries are now pro-Israel. Isn't that good? You put a little bit of hope in that. Even as Europe turns against us, and Australia is against us, and America is turning. Well, we have South America. Well, I don't know how powerful South America is, but there's still some people who we see as friends, and we put our hope in them. The idea here is that we have to put our trust fully in Hashem. That's the concept here. Trust only in God. And because of that, and I'm talking a little bit to myself here as well, we don't have to constantly be looking and watching and seeing, you know, what's next, and who can we rely on in the next situation for the safety and security of the Jewish people. Because unless you're involved practically, unless you need to know because you can make a difference, unless you actually have to be the one to make the vessel to help, there's no point of focusing on it and getting depressed by it, frankly, because we have to know, Ezrim Hashem Eshesh Mayim V'Aretz, our help, our trust has to be in Hashem. He's the one who gives us He's going to protect the Jewish people. And he tells us, we have to do what he tells us to do, which is to look out for our security and not to do anything that endangers our security. That's what we have to do. And we have to put our full trust in Hashem. We know for sure that he's going to protect us. I saw this Kabbalist today saying this point, not the build-up, but the bottom line is that Trump or not Trump, it doesn't matter. Our main trust has to be in Hashem. That's it. Our trust is in Hashem, and he will certainly protect us, and he tells us how to behave. He tells us what to do, that we have to do whatever we need to for our protection. That's maybe why things are happening now, because too many people were putting trust in a person, in a human being, in another nation. Al tiftechu b'nedivim. Do not rely on those who make promises to you. A human being has no salvation. Today he's with you, tomorrow he turns. You have to put your full trust in Hashem and know that Hashem is certainly going to protect us.